See, if you all haven't used Yoodli before, I will show you how you can deliver something and let the Yoodli give you feedback. And how we will do that is, I would want all of at least 4 or 5 of you all to participate in a table topic. And the question will be very simple. In fact, I will tell you the topic now itself so that you'll have some time to mull over it and give a good response that will be evaluated by a AI tool. And the question for you all will be, how has Toastmasters helped you to become a better, it could be a better public speaker, it could be a better communicator, anything. How has Toastmasters helped you in your journey to become a better communicator, let's say? So that would be the question. I would want you all to speak for 1 to 2 minutes, and then we will see what Yoodli has to say about that speech of yours. So get ready to deliver the speech, and finally, I will have a Q&A session. So that's what our session is going to look like. I hope you all are ready for it. So Yoodli is your personalized speech coach that provides you with real-time, and this is very important, real-time and actionable and judgment-free feedback anytime you speak. Think of a situation where you're giving a speech and you're getting feedback, but without any judgment. So that is what Yoodli will provide for you. So what are the core benefits that Yoodli gives? First, it will count all your filler words. Think of it as having a R counter sitting next to you, a dedicated R counter. So every time you give a speech, it will tell you you have used 5 R's or 4 ums. And then because you are getting objective data, even in a Toastmaster meeting, if you think about it, an R counter sometimes misses a lot of the crutch words that we use, but not the AI, because it is a computer, it's a machine. It will just count and tell you that you have used X number of times this crutch words. The one thing that I like about this tool is how it measures our pacing. And this is a very useful tool for us to understand whether we are speaking too fast or whether we are speaking too slowly. And I will show you how it does that. It also measures your eye contact. What's the percentage of eye contact that you had during the speech? 100% is not good, but also very low percentage also is not good. And one of the challenges, especially in an online environment with eye contact, is that we get so obsessed with looking at the screen, like I'm doing right now. I'm looking at you, and you can see that I'm not engaging with you because I'm not having that eye contact with you, because eye contact will only happen when I look into the camera. So it will measure that and it will give you that objective data, plus many other things we will see. Additionally, the moment you finish your speech, it will immediately transcribe the speech for you. Now, most of you all are native speakers, so it might not be that important, but for us especially, whose English is not the primary language, it is important for us to understand whether our language, the way we speak, the way we pronounce, is it understood by the computer? Because if it is understood by the computer, I can safely assume that you all will also understand it. It provides a summary of your speech. What was the takeaway messages? What was your opening? What were the key points that were there in your speech? Automatically, it will summarize and provide that summary for you. And that is very useful for us to understand whether our speech had that impact? Did it have the right opening? Did it have the right closing? And did it have the right key points? A new feature that has been recently added is something, it's very nice, especially if you're preparing for something like interviews. It has the intelligence to ask you follow-up questions. So it may ask you a question, for example, tell me about yourself. And once you start speaking, it starts listening to you. And based on what you have said, it will then ask you a follow-up question based on your content. And that is very useful, especially if you're, as I said, preparing for interviews. You can keep on answering different questions as though it's a human who's asking you these follow-up questions. And also, they have added something called games to make it more fun to practice your public speaking. And there are a couple of games that I will show you that we can play to help you improve your speaking skills. From a Toastmasters perspective, I'm sure if you are not heard about it, Toastmasters and Yoodli formed a partnership. So if you go to your Toastmaster profile, you will find among many things that you have, like let's say Basecamp or Club Officers tools. One of the tools that is available now there is called Yoodli. You click on it, it will take you to Yoodli directly, and you can start practicing your speeches from your Toastmasters profile. You can collaborate with friends. What do I mean by that? Now, when you deliver your speech, you can record the speech in Yoodli, hit a share button, and send it to your friends and say, hey, this is what I have done. Can you give me feedback? And the feedback that your friends, your coach, or your mentor provides is available directly in your speech at the place that you spoke. For example, at certain point in your speech, you were speaking too loud or too slowly. The coach will then put those comments, and you can then see the feedback that you have received. And if another thing that you can do is you can bring Yoodli into your Zoom meeting, and I will demonstrate it very soon to you all. And it can analyze an entire meeting. Imagine that Yoodli is part of your Zoom meeting, a 2-hour meeting. At the end of the meeting, it will tell you who has spoken longest, who was, and the analysis of each and every member. So think of it as let's say, minutes of the meeting recorded by an AI. So it's a great tool, especially for younger members, to recruit them into Toastmasters and say, hey, you can join Toastmasters, you can practice your speeches with an AI tool, and then come into the club and deliver that speech. So this is an example of how Yoodli analyzes your speech. This was a speech of Elon Musk, which is loaded on the Yoodli platform. As you can see, there is a transcript, and all the purple highlights indicate the crutch words. I will get into this in more detail. This is just an example, so I will not waste too much time on it. So you can analyze speeches, you can analyze, and this is what I was talking about, collaboration. So when you send your speech to your mentor or your friends, they can look at the speech, they can listen to the speech, and they can provide feedback directly inside the Yoodli platform itself. This is how in a Zoom meeting, when you bring Yoodli in a Zoom meeting, you can analyze who was speaking and how long they were speaking. And this is, I will show this all in the demo. And this is finally what I was talking about, the games, like no filler games, where you speak for, let's say, 1 minute without using crutch words. So this is a high level view of what Yoodli is all about. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to demonstrate to you how Yoodli works by bringing Yoodli into this meeting. And to demonstrate that, let me share my screen. Let me share the sound too. I will keep my Zoom window on the side here so I can have a look at everyone like this. And on the left hand side, I will have Yoodli. I hope you can see. All right. So to go to Yoodli, it's app.yoodli.ai. That's the link. You can log in and you can sign up for free. I have already an account, so I will just sign in. Now, the first thing I want to do is, of course, if you simply want to record a speech, all you have to do is go here, click record, and you have record a speech or record an interview or a Zoom meeting. On the left-hand side, we have a library of all the speeches that I have recorded earlier in Yoodli. I can open any speech and I can look at the analytics. As I mentioned, we can bring Yoodli into Zoom. And how do we do that? Here you will see use Yoodli bot, and there is an option here to type a link, the link to your meeting. If I were to find the link to today's meeting, which I will find if I was to click on the participants, so I see that we have 15 participants, and this arrow is here, and we have this copy invite link, correct? So I copy that link, and it has copied that meeting link, which I can now go to Yoodli and I can paste it here and say invite the bot. So it is now trying to join our meeting because there is okay, I see that Elizabeth has already admitted the bot into the meeting and it is now with us here. So this is how it is, right? You can see that the bot is in the meeting and it is recording the session. And when it joins the meeting, everyone would get this message saying that Cajetan is using Yoodli to get AI-powered insights on their communication skills. The reason this message comes, of course, is due to privacy issues. Everyone should know that some recording is going on other than the Zoom recording, correct? Okay, so let me stop the sharing. And since we are now in Zoom, let's see how this bot will work for us. As I said, we will have an interactive session where we will let this Yoodli bot analyze our speeches, table topics to be more precise. And the topic that I wanted you all to answer today was, how has Toastmasters helped you to become a better public speaker or a better communicator? 1 to 2 minutes max. I hope you all can stick within that time. I don't have a dedicated timer for that. If Elizabeth wants to volunteer, please do so. But I would like to have 4 to 5 volunteers. Who wants to be the first volunteer? All right, Dylan, tell us how Toastmasters has helped you to become a better public speaker.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. So there were 3 reasons that I would cite Toastmasters has really been beneficial to me as a person. Firstly, obviously, public speaking. Secondly, in leadership skills. And thirdly, in developing new friendships. So on the public speaking side, I have absolutely learned how to structure a speech, how to prepare a speech, and how to deliver a speech. But much more importantly, and I use it every single day at work, table topics. But now I have no fear of anyone asking me a question because I know how to structure my response. And I actually now welcome impromptu speaking, whereas before, when I first joined, I absolutely feared it. So I'm very, very thankful to Toastmasters that I developed that skill. Secondly, the leadership side of Toastmasters has been absolutely an amazing journey for me personally. I'm a division director at the moment. When I first joined Toastmasters, I used to look up at the top table and saying to myself, I can never be president. It's just too big a job of my own club. And now I've had the opportunity to develop my leadership skills. Once again, I applied all the time at work, and I'm very grateful for that as well. And finally, the friends I've made in Toastmasters. I joined in 2008. And the friends I made on the very first day, I would still say are my friends. And I continue to make more friendships all the time. So in summary, public speaking, developing friendships, and my leadership skills. Thank you so much, Toastmasters.
Brilliant. And I believe you because you were the first one to volunteer for the table topic. I still have a long way to go when it comes to impromptu speaking. I aspire to reach your level of impromptu speaking. Who would be the second volunteer? All right, David, go ahead.
Thank you. Fellow Toastmasters, I came up with a very un-Toastmasterly 4 points rather than 3. First one was that I had this opportunity of putting some structure into everything I'm doing. That was one of the main reasons that I joined Toastmasters, was to find some structure. I already loved speaking and loved communicating, but I have a very mercurial mind and it's rushing all over the place. So to find somewhere that had such a beautiful structure was really an amazing event. Secondly, of course, the opportunity to improve speaking and to learn how to write speeches, to learn how to deliver them with all the evaluations coming my way. And then thirdly, was the ability to develop leadership skills through real world projects, taken outside of Toastmasters, coming with a project that I needed to deliver and find out how I could do that within the structure of Toastmasters. And then fourthly, of course, was the social aspect. And I would say for me, that's probably been the overriding joy of my Toastmaster journey. With the friends I met right from the very beginning, that was the second reason that I wanted to come to Toastmasters, was to expand my social network. And it's worked magnificently. I've made friends over the last 10 years that I probably would have never met during my general working or social life. And it's made it a very pleasant, happy and challenging place sometimes, but I've learnt a lot. I've got some wonderful people around my life, and I think I have developed. That's what Toastmasters has done for me. Back to you, Mr.
Brilliant,
Mr.
brilliant.
Meeting.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience in Toastmasters. Who would be the third volunteer? I see Maura looking. Is it you? Go ahead then.
Mr. Guest Speaker, fellow Toastmasters, I loved your question. I really love with all my heart. From the first day, Toastmasters helped me in 6 different sections. First of all, be a better person. You know, when somebody lets you down, there is somebody who appears and show you the way. So shows me to be a better person, like yourself today, with a lot of knowledge, friendly. Oh my God, I really enjoy when you are here. And you say, I want to be like that. And sometimes you meet people who are not reliable. You don't learn anything. Wow, surprise. To listen much better. I listen everything. It also helped me in social life, in Zoom. I have in parties in Women's Day, at Christmas time. Oh my God, when somebody go to DTM, everything is celebration. And the champagne love me, and I love the champagne. Oh, yes. Better communicators, yes. I have no idea how Zooms work. I never use my email. I am using my text, my mobile, my calls, everything I have. So what about the speaker? I learned to be in contact with people. I said, you know what? Everybody has a soul. Everybody has a mind. Everybody needs to listen something of someone. And if I die tomorrow, I try to give the best of myself, because sometimes you are worse. You are worse. Can save also the life of someone. When you listen to the champions, oh my God, what inspiration. Oh my God, what motivation. Oh, yeah. And some people told me, you speak so fast. And other people, oh, I love when you speak fast. Oh, I love it when you feel enthusiastic. Oh my God. You learn different opinions. So I have learned in summary to be better speaker, better communicator, better listener, oh, better myself, and also social life. And thank you, Cajetan. I am so blessed, and you make my day to be in today. Thank you for the question.
Thank you so much. I don't know what the AI will have to say about it, but what I can say is I love the enthusiasm and I love the energy that you bring to this meeting. Thank you so much. Jasmine, you want to volunteer and tell us how Toastmasters has helped you in your journey to become a better communicator and a better public speaker.
Have you ever been in an unhealthy relationship? A relationship that has become toxic? Fellow Toastmasters and guests, I have been held a prisoner for years by my best friend. His name, the fear of public speaking. Each day I walk with my head held down, constantly being reminded how you're not good enough, you will be ridiculed. And I can recall that day when I missed out on a ticket to attend youth camp. I did not have the money, but I had the answer, and that answer would have given me that ticket, that free pass to go to youth camp. And I did not, because my best friend was constantly in my ears saying, you can't, you can't, you can't, you are stupid. Then that great day came. Toastmasters, my newfound best friend. And of course, you would have expected the tug of war. Fear of public speaking was pulling me one way, and Toastmaster was pulling me out the other way. The fear was saying, you can't, you'll be ridiculed. And Toastmaster saying, yes, you can. And Toastmaster won. Can I tell you, today, I am no longer afraid. I am no longer in that prison. I am now speaking. Today is my 232nd Toastmasters meeting for this year, because I'm going all over the world, speaking, sharing. I am no longer afraid. I am no longer a victim of my circumstances. Toastmasters has benefited me in so many ways. I am on my sixth path. I am area director. I am mentor, I am coach, all because of Toastmasters. Toastmasters has won the battle. And now I am set free. I am delivered. Thanks to Toastmasters. Over to you.
Thank you. We have time for just one more question, and I see that Ram has raised his hand. Please, can you share your experience in Toastmasters with us?
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I joined Toastmasters 5 years back. At that time, when I joined, I thought that I will last maybe a couple of months. The first few meetings, it was very intimidating. I was in a room. This was pre-COVID, so we were not on Zoom. This was in person. I was in a room with a bunch of people that I have never met before or spoken to before. And here I am 5 years later, and 2 DTMs later, I am in a meeting. Toastmasters gave me a safe and a supportive environment to practice my speaking skills regularly. That's the answer that everyone would generally give. As a non-native English speaker and a supreme introvert, I have lived in the United States for almost 25 years now. Still, I have become more and more comfortable in speaking to people who I have never met before, just like what I'm doing right now, spread across various continents, as is the case now, something that I would not have dared or even dreamt of doing years ago. It has made me much more confident in my journey as a speaker. I have learned to support each other. I actually come from a Toastmasters family. My wife is a DTM as well, and my son goes to a gavel club. And I also enjoy the encouragement and the constructive feedback that I get from other Toastmasters to help each of us grow and improve their speaking skills. It is astounding to me that we are a group of 15 people spread across so geographically widespread, and we all have a common goal. We all speak the same language, even though all of us have different accents. We have different time zones. Here I am at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. It's late night for some of you. It is just amazing. Just thinking of that makes me wonderstruck. Anyway, I have learned new insights into being a servant leader, and that has opened up a whole new world to me. Toastmasters also gives me an outlet to showcase and demonstrate my creativity, something that one wouldn't normally associate with Toastmasters. Every meeting that I have a role to hold. I'm constantly thinking of what can I do to make this meeting fun. So in summary, it's not one thing or two things or four things or five things for me. It is a whole lot of things for me that I have gained from being in Toastmasters. Thank you for the opportunity. Back to you, Mr. Barreto.
Thank you, Ram. I align with you. I also joined 5 years ago. I also completed 2 DTMs, and being a non-native English speaker, the ability to create content on YouTube that is consumed by people from around the world, that is one of the achievements for me as a Toastmaster. So now let's see what has happened in Yoodli while we were talking. Let me share my screen. So Yoodli is still with us. I'll go to the Yoodli website, and I can see now that it has been, let me just make it here. It has been recording for the last 15 minutes that we were talking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the stop recording button. And then click done for this call. If you see in the meeting itself now, Yoodli is no more there. Let me move this to the side. Great. Let me put this in gallery view so that I can have a look at everyone, and you all can see yourself also in the shared screen. So the recording has stopped of this 15 minutes that we were doing our table topics. If I click on the library, you can see it has this Thursday Club Excellence meeting, but it is still processing it because it is 15 minutes of video, and it has to do all this analytics of what was spoken, how was it spoken. It requires a lot of computing resources. Imagine a huge computer churning up all the analytics for us. It may take 2 or 3 minutes. So we'll come back to this. because this is one of the things that you can do in Yoodli. It's not the only thing, because at the heart of Yoodli, it is all about a tool for you to practice your own speeches, not in a Zoom meeting, but at home. So if I was at home and I have an important presentation to give, what I will do is I will come here and I will click record, and I'll click record speech. Okay, so it will show me this video, and you can choose how long you want to speak. Do you want to speak for 1 minute? Do you want to speak for 5 minutes? You can change it by clicking here, 1 or 3 minutes or 5 minutes, or you can even put a custom time, let's say 10 minutes or something like that. Once you're ready, click on the start button. It will give you a countdown, and here we go. We are going to talk about Yoodli, the artificial intelligence speech coach that helps us to improve our public speaking skills. It counts the crutch words. It helps you to analyze your English. It helps you to build your speaking skills and especially one of the key things that it does, it helps you to analyze whether you're speaking too fast or whether you are speaking very slowly. And this objective metrics that it will provide for us helps us to become, at least it gives us the data points to understand how we are doing, and then decide how we want to improve based on that. So now I'm going to click on the stop button and click on the save recording. So it immediately will, you can see how fast it has done it. It has immediately transcribed my speech. For me, this is a very important part of Yoodli because it helps me to determine whether the words that I'm saying are clearly understood by the AI. So far, it seems quite okay. Then I can look at the filler words. Did I use any filler words? 0%. Wow, I did not use any filler words during this 50 seconds that I spoke. What were the weak words that I used? Okay, so was used and very was used. And the cool thing about it is, let me make it a little bigger. If I want to know where did I use this word very, all I have to do is click on play. Whether you are speaking very slowly. And this objective metric. So that very was caught there, right? Similarly, where did I use the word so? Click on play instance to improve based on that. So it click on the stop, right? So it has picked up that. If you have used words that are strong, it will provide them for you, helps analyze, improve skills, going, and so forth. So the top keywords are used, highlighted. If we use any non-inclusive language, what do we mean by non-inclusive language? Can you give me an example of non-inclusive language? What would be considered as, for example, my wife was practicing her contest speech, and she started her speech by saying, "Ladies and gentlemen." It was highlighted as non-inclusive. Can you sort of say why that got flagged? It means you're addressing ladies and gentlemen only, right? Because you're not including everybody. And whether you want to then look at that and adjust your speech, it's up to you, but it will highlight to you that there is something that is not including everyone. Did I use any repetition? It says I have used it once. It and it. Let me see where it was. Actually, one of the key things that it does, it helps you to analyze. So I have used the word it twice there. So it highlighted. So imagine that it can automatically find all these words that you have spoken and immediately bring them to your attention. Let's look at the comments. This is what I was talking to you about, the summary. So it creates a summary of the speech that I was talking about. Yoodli, the speech coach. Yoodli counts crutch words, analyzes English speaking skills. One of the key. So whatever I spoke, it has summarized it in a way that I can make a better speech from that, right? And also it might highlight to me some rephrasing. So here it has suggested I could rephrase the entire speech like so. It has rephrased the entire speech of mine saying, welcome, today we'll be discussing Yoodli, the innovative speech coach. Now these were not my words, it has rephrased them using AI. And I could simply copy this and then start practicing it, or maybe enhance it. Right? So this is how you practice your own speech. Let's go back to the library and see what has happened to our Thursday Club Excellence. It looks like it is ready. Cool. So let us look at our analytics of the 4 or 5 speakers that spoke today. Wow, let's see what we have. So first of all, if I look at the drop down here, I hope you can all see, I can see that during this 15 minutes, I spoke, then Jasmine, Ram, Maura, Mayre, Dillon, and David Phillips, right? So it has caught all the 5 people who have spoken during this speech. And that's amazing. So I know the engagement level in this meeting, 5 people took part. So imagine if you had done it for the entire Zoom meeting, you would know who had participated in that meeting and who had not participated, right? Because I know some members who just joined, they shut down their audio video for the entire 2 hours, then they would not be included in this list. I'll click on this listening tab and it shows me how each of us have spoken. So I spoke for 25% of the time in those 15 minutes. Ram spoke for 20%, Jasmine 15%, David 14%, and Maura 13%, and Dylan 13%. Right? Amazing graph. Okay, again, we are talking about the transcript for everyone. So when I look at Dylan, this is his transcript. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. So there were these 3 reasons. So I can see it has got his English transcript very accurately. And by the way, if this whole session of this 15 minutes, I wanted to share, all I have to do is click on the share button. And I can decide who I want to share it with. I can say anyone with the link can view it. Then I just copy it. Or if you want to restrict it, you can say only people invited can view. If you want to be very, if you want the privacy levels to be a little higher, you could click on only invited people and then give their email addresses here. So only they will be able to see your speech. For this example, I will select anyone with the link can view. I can say copy link. And I will come to the Zoom meeting and I will put in the chat to everyone the link to this. So all of you all can, after the meeting also, you can take this link, you can go in here and look at your analytics and look at the others who have participated, look at their analytics. Okay, that is sharing. What are the other things that we can do? Here is, once again, let us look at the summarization that has happened here. One minute, comments, all right. I'm looking at the summary. Is not yet ready, it looks like, because as I said, it takes some time for the system to process everything. Somebody used a potentially sensitive word, stupid. I don't know who was that. Okay, I understand. It was in the context of a very, it was relevant. It is not wrong in this context because people were calling her stupid. So that's what it has brought to your attention. And okay, let's look at the delivery. So I was talking about the pacing, right? How are we talking? Are we talking too fast? Are we talking too slow? So in my case, I have spoken at 137 words per minute, which is quite good. That's the range that is acceptable. It's all in this band between 125 or 115 to 170. So if you are speaking in this range, it should be fine. I think one of you all spoke quite fast, and I think it was Maura. And let's look at Maura's speech. So, oh, why was that slow? I thought you were speaking much faster than that. It says 110. Okay, let's look at Dylan. Dylan is at very good pace of 140. David also 144, excellent. Jasmine 114, slightly slower. And Ram, wow, Ram spoke at a very fast pace. So these are the analytics that we can use once our speeches are done, whether it's in a Zoom meeting or whether you have directly recorded the meeting here. This is the type of analytics it provides. In addition to that, I was mentioning to you that we have games you can play, a no-filler game, spin a yarn game, a metaphor mania game. And in addition to that, there is a good library of learnings, videos about Yoodli, and more importantly, there are some free courses for us on the fundamentals of public speaking or some, and these are all by top speech coaches. You can go through these courses, they're all free, and most of them are 10 to 15 minutes in length. And that for me is Yoodli. We have 10 minutes remaining. If there are any questions, I am more than happy to answer them. I hope you found this session interactive and useful. Let me stop the sharing now. And we are here.
I think before we go to questions, I think you deserve a round of applause digitally or manually to show our sincere appreciation for how we can use this amazing tool in so many different ways. I think it's been fantastic. So let us show DTM Cajetan that we've been really listening to him by asking him some insightful questions. So what questions do you have for him? David.
Yeah, one's a practical question. On the recording of the Yoodli, which I just had a quick look at, got all the analytics. When it comes to comments, it just says we're speechless, no comment at the moment. Does that mean it's still analyzing it and things will materialize later, or we all spoke so wonderfully that there is nothing to improve upon?
Yeah, both options are possible because normally it takes 5 to 10 minutes to process the video. I don't know whether it has finished it because I did not find the summary also. I think it was still creating the summary by the, but feel free to go to that link after 10 minutes and see if there is any additional insights for you all to look at.
So it's still working in the background, well, even though it's...
Yeah, it does that, yeah.
Okay, cool. It's at the same time for me brilliant but very sinister. And there's been so I just there's been so much just suddenly leapt into the public consciousness in the last month about AI. First of all, I had nothing about it. Then suddenly it was everywhere.
Yeah.
Seems,
All
seems
thanks
very
to
stri-
Chat GPT and its
Yes.
its
So
impact on the
has
public.
how long has Yoodli been available on Toastmasters?
To be fair, they started this product somewhere in September, and in fact, I remember I was in UK at that time, and the Yoodli founder had reached out to me and said, "Hey, are you interested in testing the product?" But I was so busy enjoying London, I forgot about it till 2 months ago. Then officially they tied up with Toastmasters in December, but the product was kind of launched in September or October.
Yoodli was also in Nashville at the International Convention. So they were there as well, and they were, you know, showing off the product. I have tried it, and I have to say I really like it. I tried it for one of my speeches that I was going to give, and I was, well, a bit shocked at the number of ums and ahs. So it was quite good to, you know, to work on those. And I think the analytics are really useful. And things like, as you said, inclusive language, that was new to me. I'd never thought whether my language was inclusive or not, but that was excellent in helping. So I'm definitely going to, you know, suggest to people around the district that we all use this a bit more. And I think particularly helpful for preparing for contest, because you can actually do this over and over again until you get your speech, you know, get input for your speech. I think it's a really good tool to use. So yeah, I'm very happy with it, and I'm definitely a fan of Yoodli. Okay, I'll take one last question, because I know that tonight there are a couple of contests on and people are going to have to run to the contest. I don't want to keep this longer than we need. I'm sure that this is a subject that will evolve, and Cajetan is our friend, so we can invite him back on another occasion. But before we go, one last question from anyone before we go, before we close. No? Okay. So what I will say is that, Cajetan, I want to thank you sincerely for giving another first-class, you know, presentation. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Got a lot of, it was both informative and interesting. And I think you've really, hopefully, enthused us to go away and try it even more. And I will do that. And I know Varun, the founder, is very keen to get feedback from us, and I certainly want him to hear from District 71. So I will be feeding back to him what I get from you. And yeah, so we look forward to using Yoodli in District 71. I want to thank you again, Cajetan, for adjusting your plans to come to D71. Definitely worth it. Cannot thank you enough. So let's give a final show of appreciation by taking your things off and giving Cajetan a very, and his wife Priscilla, who was online, a fantastic show of appreciation. We really do love you, having you in District 71. So thanks everyone. Thanks to all of you who came, and we look forward to you. What I would like from everyone in the group online tonight is a commitment that we're going to go away and try Yoodli. I think that would be really fantastic. It's a way of showing our appreciation to Cajetan, and to really just catching up with technology. It's here, let's use it, and let's make it work for us. So